and welcome to a very special edition of This Is Why We Fight. I'm Jo.
I'm Jordan.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. We've got a lot to get through this evening, so I'm going to introduce our special guest, Andrew. Hello, Andrew.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're well.
We have got some just great stuff to go through with you this evening. So Andrew has written up a really fantastic article to launch. Well, I'll hand it over to Andrew and he can tell you.
Well, to launch a new website. So I'll hand it back to Jordan so we can go through it.
And I'll hand it back to Jo so she can put it on the screen.
It's called teamwork, this.
This is amazing. This is like those games of football that you had to play at school as a kid where everyone had to touch the ball before you could shoot.
That was a brilliant opening. Probably one of our best so far.
No.
Let's hope things improve.
My personal favourite is when you forget to unmute yourself, or when I'm sitting there with Andrew and we're watching the intro video and I realise that we put it on, or that we didn't go live, so we've had to watch it twice. That's my favourite.
Oh, that's genius. Anyway, back to the good stuff. The good stuff is
reality.
We do have a fantastic new website. As you can see, it looks amazing. We've uploaded pretty much everything that we had of value, which was basically everything from the other website. We've also added new articles. There's a lot of new content for you to look at. That's really my part to play on this evening, because I wasn't actually going to be here. So I'm going to hand it over to the lads. And yes, let's carry on.
Right. Do you want to start with the timeline, Jordan?
Oh, I do. I was possibly going to leave last because it's my favourite part of anything. We can go with that, though. Okay. The thing I love the most about this website is the thing that Jo and I have been talking about for an age now, saying that we've been meaning to do. We need a timeline, because so bloody often we come across something and then they change it. They either memory hole it or they act as if it never existed. A prime example of this is a couple of weeks ago, if people remember, on stream, we put up an article where they spoke about a urea shortage. You go online now and you can't find anything at all about a urea shortage. The only thing you can find in relation to it is over in India where they've got it, which is a bit of an irony. But
Jordan, can
yes.
I just interject there? It sounds like a bodily function. Do you want to explain to the audience what it is, in case they're unaware?
Sorry, urea for fertilizer manufacturing. Sorry. It's because I've been reading up on it a lot, so I just took it for granted. So yeah, there's a shortage of that. They've memory holed it. You now can't find any information about it. This timeline is doing away with that. No more shall we face this issue, because now we have got all the links in one place, and more importantly, everything is archived. Everything is on the archive.org, so we will always be able to see it. They will not be able to hide from us any longer.
Can I interject there real quick? On that note, we've always said that these communities will either be built with money or with people.
Mm-hmm.
We are trying to do this without money, because we know that not everyone has the money to invest in their future. And we know that, especially for the working classes of our countries, we've been hit the hardest by all of these agenda. So we need people. We need people. And more specifically, we need you. We need you to help us to do this. This timeline, as you can imagine, the last year and a half has been crazy. For everything we remember, there's going to be hundreds and hundreds of things we miss.
Mm-hmm.
If you can recall any salient headlines, any government mandates, any legislation that you do not see on the timeline, please feel free to send it to us on Telegram or Discord with a link, and then we can add it to the timeline. We'll be very, very grateful. Many hands make light work. We've so many ideas and so much we want to do, and there are too few of us doing it. So if you have the time and you are willing, we're so grateful. Thank you in advance. Back to you.
So yeah, Andrew, did you have anything to say on the timeline?
Well, it'll be fantastic for reference, so that if you want to go back and point things out to people, instead of having to try and search for it and take hours, you can just look on here and grab it off.
That's one of my favourite things as well, because when you start to see these things and they're all laid out, like it's a very simple. It's even though it's purely text graphical in a way, it is right there. It's right in front of your face. You cannot ignore it.
Well, it drives the point home, doesn't it? It drives the point of this progression into more tyranny home. It's harder to ignore when it's like this.
Exactly, because it's little things that add up. Things like the 15-mile-an-hour speed limit thing here. It may happen, it may not happen. I have no idea. But come next year, if it does happen, we can point at this and say, look, we said about this back then, or they said about it back then.
Well, that's like the pictures out of Wuhan. We were talking about this earlier. I'll just quickly bring this up on the screen. Does anyone remember this? Okay, that's not good. That's not what I downloaded.
Tisk.
Let me try that one. Yay, there we go. Does anyone remember this before COVID made its way to the West? Does the media talk about this anymore? Have you seen anything in your street, town or village that resembles this? And yet, you know, this is exactly what we're talking about. These things are reported and then they are removed. And I think that the expectation is that we will simply forget. The timeline is designed to make sure we never forget. So there you go. I just wanted to share that with you. I'll take that off. And back to you.
All right, shall we move on to the news?
Yeah, sorry. I thought Jordan might answer you there. Yes, let's do that, Andrew.
I'm muted, but no longer. What I was saying was, we had a little bit of a change on the site earlier on, so some of these are a little less padded out than they were yesterday, but you know, it's fitting out nicely. The other thing about this as well is if anybody wants to get involved and write articles for us, they are more than able to. Just sign up and start posting.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to move on to the community part? I'll take that. Yes. Right, so everything that's in the community, so everything that's related to it, so we're talking technology, food supply, the counter economics, which is the pulling away from our society from an economic standpoint, creating businesses, products, services, etc. Everything's going to be in there. So if you can hover over the community tab, John, yeah. So you can see all of the different ones, and the cottage industry overviews are in there as well. Any articles that are community related, but either span multiple different sections, or they don't fit in on any one of them, they'll go into community articles, but they're definitely worth looking at as well. The new article from me is put into there. If you want to click on the community tab, it comes up with all of them.
Which is the page we're on now.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in here as well? And again, going back to this, you know, your country needs you, this community needs you. Again, if you have a bit of a way with words and you'd like to submit an article, you will obviously get the byline, you will get full credit for it. We would absolutely love to have people submit articles for this website to show what a fantastic community we have. Not only will that show us in a good light, not only will that show people that we're doing something good here, it will also bring more people on board, because the more content we have, the more interested people will be in what we've got to say. So again, you know, if you want to try your hand at writing an article, if you have a specific industry or topic that you are passionate about, if you want to write something like a commentary on what's happening, it doesn't matter what it is, please get in touch. We will happily cover really any topic. Obviously, keep it sensible. But we will cover any topic that's related to building community, to disengaging from the beast system, anything that helps us, that helps our community, that helps people to free themselves. So please think about that, and you know how to find us if that's something you might be interested in.
Yeah,
Okay,
writing from a point of view of a solutions based, nice and positive. I think that's the way. That's definitely the way forward now. It has to be solutions based.
Okay.
And if you've got any skills, for example, making ceramics, then consider making a cottage industry overview. Just go. It don't have to be a step-by-step guide. Just an overview of right then. What do you need to get started with it? If somebody's coming from a position of no knowledge, what do you need? What sort of things do you need to buy? How much is that going to cost on average? Just give people an idea and maybe point them to the direction of somewhere where they can get started. If we can fill that out by people with people who actually have these skills, then it's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be really helpful for people.
Yeah,
which is going to be vital. We need people with skills to join these communities.
And it will inspire people out of this apathy that everyone's trapped in. It's very easy to say that, everyone needs to do more. But when you're so demoralized, it's really hard. You need to see other people doing it, and it might inspire you to do it too. So yes, we definitely need skills. For everything, again, that we think of, there's going to be hundreds of things that we haven't even considered. So, and even if it's not yourself, you might know someone who's great at making something, or great at producing something, someone who's a fantastic gardener or a fantastic baker. If you want to share recipes, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything that we would need to build a community is relevant. So if you can produce it, or if you know someone else who can produce it, we would very, very much like to hear from you. Thank you.
I think the final thing on the website itself is the URL. Wardens.community. I think that is a much simpler URL than what we previously had. And what a lot of websites have, typically they're .com, .co.uk, .org, blah, blah, blah. This here, the clue's in the title of what we're about.
Easy to remember.
There you go, Hasdak. We'd all love to know how dry cleaning works. You clearly know your way around clothes. Let's have it. We'll expect an article by the end of the week.
Right.
Will saying, show the timeline again, please. There are new people watching. Thank you very much, English Will.
There you go. There is the time. My favourite part of the website. And I certainly hope the most useful part. There you go. We will be promoting the hell out of the timeline.
Yes, we will.
At the
And
very
it will
least, I
be
will
and it will be constantly updated. As you can imagine, we are somewhat working backwards to fill in the gaps, because we accept that we should have started this much, much earlier. So again, if you can help us fill in those gaps, if you have any stories saved, any headlines saved, any screenshots you can share with us, we'd be very, very grateful.
This is one in particular I would keep an eye on. The abattoir nonsense. Because this, in a couple of months' time, comes Christmas, they're going to say, oh, there's no food. And then they're going to blame something else. They're going to blame Brexit. They're not going to be looking back on this and saying, wait a minute. Back in September, October, November, farmers were slaughtering animals for no reason whatsoever. It's also all searchable. I should point that out. So anything that's a shortage will pop up here and all the rest of that.
Yeah, the subheadings are really handy, because as you can imagine, as this timeline fills up, it's going to become a massive list of everything. So you can choose the subheading. You can focus on government headlines or government legislation or announcements. You can focus on healthcare. So it's up to you to choose which one you want. And it obviously would make the list smaller if you want to go through that subcategory.
Indeed. So yeah, I think that's all for the website itself. Other than that, it's a normal website. You can work out how it works. Am I wrong? Or is there more?
Well, there's the links. Important section.
Yeah, fine, whatever. Joe, you had a particular passion about this subject.
I had an issue with the editing of it. Yes, thank you for fixing that.
My pleasure.
It was just all like a line of text. There was no differentiation. But anyway, I just want to go to a few comments. As always, Fearless Bear, your favourite person. Yes, Greta's been talking again. We might cover that later on if there's time. Reboot Needed says, excellent website. You've clearly put a lot of work into it. Well done. That's very
Thank you
kind
very
of you. We have put a lot of work into it. As you know, this is very close to our hearts. This means a lot to us. You know, however people free themselves, as long as they do, that's what matters.
Andrew
And
has painstakingly gone through and added all the articles.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable how many articles he's written by himself, let alone all of those that he's then added on from everyone else.
Well, that's the embarrassing thing. I mean, Andrew has almost single-handedly created the content for this website.
Pretty much.
So yes, we do. So despite all of Jordan's work on the back end and setting it up and making it look amazing, you know, we can't risk all of this falling onto one person. This community is far greater than just the people who host these streams. Mm-hmm. So again, if you can, please get writing. We very much appreciate any input, any contributions. We've always said it. Any contribution is welcome. Doesn't matter how great or how small you think it is. It all helps enormously. So thank you. So Francis says, looks great.
Thank you very much. Going back to what you said earlier on, we all have different strengths and weaknesses. I am not a writer by any stretch of the imagination. Anybody who's seen something that I've written before Joe's got hold of it knows that firsthand. I don't do writing. It's not my thing. It's not my passion by any means. So if you're not a writer, don't worry. Give it a go. I will be doing certain things. I have something coming up for home education that I'm going to be working on Sunday and Monday probably, but that will be up next week. And it's a big old subject. So yes. It'll probably be cropping up quite a lot.
Johnston Small says, do we need a login? And there's another comment, or is it open to all comers? Do you want to take that?
It's open to all comers. Yeah, anyone can go there. Anyone can look at it. And if you want to post articles, then you need a login. But other than that, no.
There you go. Neil Christie says, to do ceramics or metallurgy, we need fuel, coal, gas or wood. Not knowing is a problem. I do agree. These are uncertain times. The thing is, though, we can't let this stop us. We can still do the research. We can still save the research. We can still save the guides for such a time as we can do these things. Yep. Ceramics, of course, was just one suggestion. It could literally be anything.
Yeah. The one thing I've been doing recently, as some of you may know, I've been taking notes while watching things. My general idea is that we can watch and find things now. We have no idea what's going to happen in the future. So having a physical written record of that stuff is quite useful. On top of that, I don't know about anybody else. I watched so much stuff over the years that I forget I've seen stuff. I watched a video about a month ago. It was pretty much the impetus for this. I watched a video and then I realised halfway through that I'd already seen the video. And I'm pretty damn sure I saw it when it first came out. It was from like 2013, 2014. So I watched it, forgotten it, and then watched it again, which is obviously a complete and utter waste. If I'd been keeping notes, admittedly by now I'd be swimming in bloody notes, but if I'd been keeping notes, I'd be able to look back through them and see, oh yes, seen this, and just skim through it and get what I need.
Well, that's a good point, actually. The risk of overload is a reality. But more importantly, we have noticed so many repeats or U-turns or contradictions or similarities between certain stories in the mainstream evil media. And having this timeline, once again, puts them all there for everyone to see. And we've always believed that shocking the system is the good way to shock yourself out of apathy. It's very easy to look at something in isolation and say, well, okay, that's a bit concerning, but it's not too bad. But when you look through this timeline and see, hang on, this has gradually progressed to this point, and everything is a slippery slope for the next bad thing, it's much easier to spot this, to spot their nudges, which we've covered before, to spot the brainwashing, the propaganda, the agenda. If you can see it all play out in a nice, concise, easy to swallow list.
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad's not mean says, good man, Andrew.
I agree.
Thank you. Yeah. Yay!
There we go. That was better. One thing I need to add on to the food shortages aspect, and we can move on from this in a moment. Does anyone remember when the grain silo in Lebanon went pop?
Yes.
I don't even remember when it was. I think it was February-ish of last year. I might be wrong on that, but even so, when that went pop, in the 6 weeks before and after, there were all sorts of crazy things going on, like the silo that caught fire down in Tilbury, not on the news at all. The massive bakery that caught fire over in Sweden, not really on the news either. There's all these sorts of things that we may remember happening, but we don't have an easy way of finding it. And that's ultimately what this is about. Because when you start to see those things, especially when you start seeing the dates and you think, wait a minute, this is in a 3-month period, pretty much everything that could go wrong did go wrong in the food chain. That's quite remarkable. It's the sort of thing that would wake, or at least jar your average person into thinking something is a little off.
Well, yeah, for those of us who don't believe in coincidences, haven't we been incredibly unlucky in a very short space of time?
Mm-hmm. Also, final thing on the website, we have a new logo. That was it.
Yes, we do. So there you go. I mean, I think the website looks amazing. I'm incredibly proud of the team for building this website, providing the content for it. We really do need more people to be a part of that team to help us provide these services, to help us provide this information, to spread the message, to help people free themselves, to help people be self-sufficient. So again, we really want to extend this to everyone in our community. If you can get involved a bit more, please do. We desperately need more hands to get so much more done. We go through so many ideas in a week, and I'm not just sort of blowing smoke here. We do get through so many, and we just don't have time to implement them all. So, if you can help out, it really is important now more than ever. Because as everyone knows, however bad things were back in summer of last year, look how much worse they are now. How much worse they'll be in another 6 months, 9 months, a year's time. Things are going to get progressively worse. The faster we start pushing back and working together, the faster we become free.
Well said.
Right.
Is there any more comments you need to bring up, Joe?
Johnson Small says, so imagine you have a friend who had come into a small amount of cash, say 5 figures for sake of arguments, and imagine this friend was thinking of buying some woodland, hint, hint. Yes, if you can, please do. Protecting your family is the number one priority for everyone. We're being attacked from so many directions. It's so overwhelming to try to deal with this alone. If you can work with others, then all the better. Safety in numbers. But yes, if you are in a position to help yourself, then of course you must. Your first duty is to your family, and then to your community. So everyone needs to do what they can, and everyone needs to do what they're able to. We don't want anyone to feel pressured to do things that are just not, within their abilities right now. So do what you can, know that you've made a difference. It will have such an amazing effect on you psychologically. Even if it's just boycotting a supermarket. Just knowing that you've done something, you've taken action to free yourself. And it might seem like the tiniest thing in the world. And on the grand scale of things, it might be the tiniest thing in the world, but it's a step.
But a
And once,
good example of that is one of what he just said. He got out of the shower after a great workout. Well done, mate.
yeah, one step leads to another. We've got to look at this as a journey. And that's really important. We're not going to race to the finish line here, not with things constantly changing.
Mm-hmm.
But we can start taking steps to move in that direction. And that's all we need to do right now, is have people willing to take those steps. Because the reality is now that there's no more fence sitting. There's no more neutral position. You are either upholding this beast system or you are fighting against it. It's now time for people to make individual choices within communities. Find a group, belong to that group, work with that group, make it count. Because we just don't know what's coming next.
It sounds like it's time for Andrew.
I reckon so. That was my segue. Go on.
Right. So, this latest article. The idea behind this article is about laying out steps that you can take in order to start fighting back against this whole entire system, really, this regime, but doing it within your own lifestyle. So making little changes, which over time it all adds up, and certainly as more and more people do it. So to get started, there's three things I think are very important that I want everyone to just bear in mind. Firstly, it's up to the individuals to take responsibility for it. It's always up to you. A group will help you out. You can organize, you can buy more prepping supplies, food, etc. Often with a discount. You can do a lot of things with a group, but ultimately the buck stops with you. Secondly, we recognize that everyone's situation is different. If you're a multimillionaire, you can do quite a lot quite fast. If you're not, well, it's going to be a bit harder. There's so many different limitations. If you've got a garden, or if you're living in a very small apartment. So don't beat yourself up about it and what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. And third, don't make perfect the enemy of the good. Even if you can't become, let's say, growing food, even if you can't become 100% food self-sufficient, don't focus on that. Focus on the fact that you might be able to grow a chili plant, and you might get, 50 chilies from that. That's something. It's better than nothing. Focus on that, learn, do a little bit, and then if you can, try and do a little bit more later on. Those three things are very important. Everyone should keep those in mind. Right, in terms of the article, I'm not going to go through every single point. We're just going to pick 3 points from each section and just go into it a little bit. So there's still reason to actually go on the website and have a look at the articles. Right, so the first one, buy food from farm shops, butchers and greengrocers, or direct from local farmers instead of buying from supermarkets. Now, we've talked about the whole agenda with the food for ages. Hopefully you should all know about it by now. With the possible passports, we might be shut out of supermarkets. Plus, the food is going to be massive shortages. We're expecting. Don't know how much, but it's looming on the horizon. I'm seeing it already in supermarkets. So supporting your local food supply, food growers, butchers, etc. That's a really good time to start that now. Really good. So we need to be doing that. But there's another aspect here. The food that you actually get from a supermarket is not great. It's not great at all. It's full of crap, pesticides. Some of it's GMO, and they won't tell you. It's whereas if you buy it from farm shops, butchers, even direct from farmers, it's a lot better, a lot less likely to have that. So you'll be healthier. So you like to bring up anything, John?
Yeah, I was just going back onto the timeline to look for the article that I want to find, where they mention a cocktail of pesticides found in almost all oranges and grapes. The list of 47 pesticides includes 15 that are carcinogenic, and 17 that have inhibitors to the respiratory system, cause confusion, headaches, and weakness. So yeah, we really don't know what the hell they're putting in food. And quite honestly, even they don't know what the hell they're putting in food.
So there's your next nudge, isn't there? There's your next bit of propaganda there. Food will become scarce, so you are more likely to buy it up. And the few bits of food that are available are filled with carcinogens and poisons. So again, we're not saying boycott supermarkets because we're like you're super activists. We're saying for your own health, if you can go direct to a farm, not only are you going to have an ample supply of food to choose from, you're going to have safe, naturally grown, fresh food that is priced accordingly. It's quality food, and it is safe for you to give to yourself and your children. All of these pesticides are preservatives. Think about how long food goes through the supply chain before it lands on the supermarket shelves. It's preserved with poison to stop it rotting. It only rots once it's in your stomach. This is ridiculous. We need to start scrapping all of these poisons. There are people who think that there are public poisons they ought to avoid. These are the hidden ones. They are everywhere. It's really time for everyone to do research about what you're eating, where it's coming from, how it's stored, how it's prepared. We've got to stop buying poison. We are poisoning ourselves and we're paying to do it. It has to stop.
And not only that, the food is a lot healthier, a lot tastier too. It's mind-blowing if you try the food from a supermarket, then go to a local butcher's. It's like two completely different things. It's shocking. So it really does make you wonder about the quality or lack thereof of the stuff that you buy in supermarkets.
And yes, as Will says, the prices have exploded. I mean, he's saying $10 to $11 a pound. A ribeye steak is now $15 to $16. Look at the price of petrol. All these crises, manufactured or otherwise, are all designed to put the price of the things that we need out of our reach. This is another reason to get out of the beast system as soon as possible. And if you don't drive or you can't travel to a farm, pretty much all of these farms now, if they've got anything about them, have websites. They deliver. It's worth shopping around.
Right, so number 2, start growing at least some herbs, fruit and vegetables. So going back to the second point, we're all in a different situation. Some people might be able to grow most of the food they'll need, others will not. So it's about trying to do what you can. I mean, I've tried microgreens. I've done an article on how to grow microgreens and seed sprouts. That's something to try out. You never know, you might like it. It'll teach you some skills. If you've got nothing else you can do, you can grow quite a few fruit and veg in your house if you've got the access to the light. That's the biggest problem with growing indoors, unless you want to go down the road to grow lights, but then you've got the cost of that, with the electricity. But it's something to consider. Just start growing some, especially with the prices growing up, and as we've just said about the quality, the lack of quality, and all the pesticides. It's going to be healthier and a lot tastier. So, yeah, it's something to really consider.
It just seems madness to boycott poisons in our children and then poison our children. It's silly. And we're all guilty of it. This is not us, being hypocrites here. We all need to make these changes. It's so important. People who are sick can't fight. That's deliberate. So, let's get healthy. And again, small changes can make all the difference. You'll feel so much better. You'll have more energy. You'll feel fitter. You'll feel happier. And then, of course, you'll be able to do even more. It just has an amazingly healthy knock-on effect. The moment you start making changes, each one will lead to another. And then it's a runaway train.
That's a good point to make, actually. Typically, when you start to make one change, the changes just start racking up. And when it comes to something like this, food, even if it starts off with something really, really simple like microgreens that you're then going to put in your salad, a combination of actively growing the microgreens yourself as opposed to buying them, as well as all the extra nutrients that you're getting out of them, as opposed to the god-awful poisons that you're getting out of the shop-bought ones, it is... Are we in a sound effect lab or something?
Sorry, I thought I was muted. I was pouring a glass of water.
That sounded like a sound effect you'd hear in a bottle.
I'm going to buy one of those
stimulating
whistles.
water in them.
This is subliminal messaging. I'm trying to make the audience thirsty. Is everyone thirsty now? Did that work? Does everyone need to pee? I'm so sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, like if you grow some microgreens, you put them on. You've got.
I'm sorry, I ruined it now. I'm sorry.
You've got the added benefit of being the person who grew it, so you're motivated anyway. And on top of that, you've then got all the goodness out of that, as opposed to the poison out of the other thing. Next subject, Joe, go.
I'm still laughing. Where are we? Before I go on to that, actually, there's a couple of serious comments I want to bring up. Reboot Needed says, I actually am an expert on this now. Hurrah! I've been waiting for my tomatoes to turn red for ages. Couldn't wait any longer. So today I had fried green tomatoes for lunch. They were delicious. I'm so glad you enjoyed them. I had this problem last year and I found a solution. When your tomatoes are ready, when they've grown to the correct size and they do not turn red, it's because of cold temperatures. They need a consistent warm temperature. You can pick them off the plant once they've reached that size. Take them indoors, put them in a bowl or something, and they will still turn red. So there's a bit late now, I know, but there's a hint for next year, should the same occur.
You could knit a blanket.
Yes, like a tomato cozy or something. And just on the point we made before, as Will says, weak people cannot defend themselves or their families, which is exactly why they want us weak and poisoned. Okay, let me just catch up again.
This is why we hydrate.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Let me tell you, this could be the name of a stream if you're not careful. Blood Embraces says, just about to say, I've not had a drink for 6 weeks. I came here for role models. Damn, it's genuinely water, I promise. Hydration is good. It's healthy. Oh, there you go. And just a reboot in response as well. Aramis says, you can put them in a bowl with a banana. That will help to ripen your tomatoes. So there you go. Right. Back to the website. Okay. So learn to forage.
Yeah.
It's an amazingly traditional English thing that we do. We've always done this. And the skill has again been lost because it hasn't been passed down, or we skip these generations of the most amazing, important stuff. I'm doing sound effects again. That's not me, I promise. That's my chair rubbing. That's my chair rubbing against something.
Joe, where are you streaming from? Are you streaming from Disney HQ or something? What the heck? It's like I've got Goofy on the stream.
Excuse me, I do not work for those pedos. Who said I'm a Foley artist? Alleged, whatever. Anyway, so foraging. So yes, the food that you can forage is so nutritious. It grows wild, so it doesn't cost you anything. And as long as you know what you're looking for, this is good, free, healthy food. Again, we go to the supermarket and we spend ridiculous amounts of money for a small bunch of grapes or something. There are lots of things we can forage.
Take something like blackberries, for example.
Yeah.
Admittedly, this year around me, there's hardly any blackberries. I have no idea why. Don't get me going on this. But people pay a bloody fortune for them out of the shop. All you need to do is go and find some, they're in most hedgerows.
Well, I know where the ones in my garden went. Birds ate them and then pooped them all over my car. I mean, it's bad enough getting bird poop on your car, but when it comes out blackberry looking, it's
like blackberry yogurt.
Yeah, it just looks rank. So there you go. Birds like blackberries. Just a word of warning there. If you have trees close to a blackberry bush, and you have a car, it's not going to end well. Will says, learning to hunt is a very rewarding skill. It teaches marksmanship, survival, excuse me, tracking, fitness, and more. Hunting is something that is obviously problematic in Britain. You can't even go out with a can opener now, as you'll get arrested for something.
God help you forget the potato peeler. They're definitely
that's it. That's what I was thinking of. The potato peeler. I'm surprised you can still, buy a whisk from a shop and walk it home. But learning to hunt, again, there are lots of things we're going to learn in our lifetimes that we will never put into practice. It doesn't matter whether or not you can do these things. If we can find the information and put it all in one place, for those who can, they will. For those who can't, they will still have that knowledge. Should things change? Should situations change? So it's still worth knowing this stuff, or at least having a basic understanding of it.
With foraging, another benefit is the medicinal aspect of it. If we're going to we might have to rely on herbs and spices and the medicinal benefits if things continue to go the way they're going. So being able to go out into the wild and actually find the plants that you need to take care of yourself, I think that's a valuable skill.
Yeah. All those anti-European memes may come true. That we don't spice our food. This may become a reality. But all of these things have distinct flavours. And it's a case of just going back to basics and learning. Developing your palate and learning which foods go with which foods. Again, wherever possible, we will put guides up to assist people. But again, this requires a lot of people contributing, because there just isn't time for us few to do all of this stuff. But yeah, the medicinal properties I'm especially interested in, Andrew, because again, for those of us who are already sick because we've been poisoning ourselves for our entire lives, we need to start correcting this. And for those of us who are like me, and this is my personal opinion, who don't trust the state endorsed medical system any longer, I'm going to have to find other methods of getting medicine into my body. And this is the kind of thing I'm thinking about doing, looking at, wild flowers and wild herbs. And just on that note, as a reminder, I'm going to be working with Jonathan, our resident gardener, to create a massive list of wild flowers, what they look like, what their purpose is, how you can prepare them, and how they help you. So, but not to detract from this, back to you, Andrew.
All right, so the next section, technology. This one's a very easy win for people to get some momentum. So instead of using Google and Bing, if anyone uses Bing now, use alternate search engines. So the one I like using Pre-Search, and if I can't find anything with that, DuckDuckGo. But Startpage is another one I've used before. It just keeps your search engine, your search results private from Google and Microsoft. So very easy to do. It's just about changing, and yeah.
I will concede that this is one thing I'm really, really not good at. I still use Google.
Yes, you keep mentioning the dreaded G word, and
I don't do it on purpose.
Habit.
Who do you use? Startpage, isn't it?
I've used Startpage. I find them really easy to use. I'm currently using Brave.
Why aren't you using Startpage anymore?
I do use Startpage, but I've got all my tabs saved on Brave, but I use Startpage for certain searches.
Philomena's booing me.
When I want to be supremely private. But again, this is down to the individual. It's up to you to decide how much protection and privacy you want online. If you're happy for everyone to know everything, then carry on as you are. But if you want some privacy, there are lots of choices there.
I will defend myself when it comes to the Google thing. I've typed in "go" into the search bar so many times. I literally cannot break that habit. I do it sometimes through the day just because I haven't done it. It's like it's developed into a nervous tick. It's
being
weird
Googled.
and annoying.
You've been brainwashed.
I have been. I fully accept this. I don't dispute it at all.
You need to change your default to one of those three.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because I don't use the default. I physically type in "go" and then press the enter button every time I want to search something.
So you don't just open a new tab because it should default to the search engine that you've chosen as a default?
No, what happens is when you open a new tab, it does its weird little thing. Like it will default to that, but it shows you like a weird picture and stuff, and I don't like it. But it breaks my brain, and then you have just a ton of bump in the search bar, and I don't like that. So I go directly to Google, and then I put stuff in.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I need to look. I need to look at your computer. Honestly, that's some weird stuff.
Does that
going
not
on.
happen for anybody else?
No.
I'll show you. 1 minute. This is more interesting. 1 second. New tab. There you go. This is what happens when I open a new tab in Brave.
What?
Is that not what happens for everybody else?
No.
Yes.
But
Not for
see,
me.
it's not just me.
But that's an inspiring photograph. Look, there's trees and a lake and houses.
But if I want to find information, I'm not looking at this. I'm thinking to myself, what's some information I need to find? Let's go on to Google and have a look.
Would that be because Google is your first button?
Yeah, because I go there so often.
Delete it.
I need it. I don't even click on these. I don't look at this page long enough. I just go straight there, straight to where I need to go.
Genuine criticism. Why is Google at the front? Why isn't the Wardens community the first button? Come on.
Of all things to criticise, surely one.
Right, before you come off this, I'm just going to bring up a few comments. Okay, Zant says digs hole. Because you're in trouble now. I can't put this up on the stream, but Florida will. Free Gamer says cuck, and it's just a picture. Bless. Philomena says this is how he digs.
At least I don't find it.
So good. Anglo-Saxon, do you know what? We never ever asked for donations on this show. That's awfully generous of you. Thank you. Is that so that Jordan can learn how to use the internet properly? We'll make sure it's spent really well. Thank you very much, Anglo-Saxon. Much appreciated. Reboot look, everyone's sticking up for you now. Whatever. See, Reboot Needed says yes.
It's a difficult problem to overcome.
Yeah, Tash is sticking up for you. English Will has a question, and so do I. Why the BBC?
Okay, the BBC is twofold. One, somewhat habitual, just going on to there just to see what's happening. The second thing is, the way my brain works, the BBC is basically the default news outlet for this country. If you go on to the BBC, you can kind of generally get a gist of what your average person is reading. I then use Telegram for my actual news, so the BBC thing is vastly overrated.
To be fair as well, people know when we bring up these sort of mainstream media articles, it's to rip them to shreds.
Yeah, we mock them. The other aspect of the BBC, to be honest, is not that I look at the BBC itself, it is that I go onto the sports page. So that's basically why it's there.
Okay, I've got some more. Let's get this finished before we get back to the important stuff of the website. Okay, Fearless Bear. I'm beginning to think you're obsessed, Fearless Bear. I'm just going to say it right now. Greta, don't use Google. There you go.
1 minute.
Trying to make me bring up my Greta pictures?
1 minute. Greta would use Google because look at this, carbon neutral since 2007.
Yeah, whatever.
Google is carbon neutral.
Reboot Needed says Google and BBC tut. It's like the double whammy, Jordan. I don't know that you can be forgiven for this. My stepdad's not mean. Now this is a harsh rebuke indeed. You need to set an example, Jordan. Actually, no, what Jordan said is true, in fairness. Roy has actually got some useful information here, which we all should use, really. Brave settings search, set to pre-search, earn pre-tokens while searching for the same stuff. I've never made money using Brave. So can someone copy that comment, please?
Into my brain. 1 minute, what was it? Search, was it not?
Well, if you can copy the comment.
Right, 1 minute. 1 minute.
Are you doing it now?
Yeah, I'm going to do this on the stream. Right?
This is live interactive stream, you know.
This, you criticise me, that's fine. I'll change how I do things. Where is it? Bloody search. Search engine, hallelujah.
Yeah, get
search
off Google.
Engine used in the address bar. Start page. There is no pre-search. You lie to me.
No, it's on Brave.
What the flipping
heck? If you read the comment, it says Brave, settings, search.
No,
you're on freaking Google.
You need to create the account in pre-search to earn them.
Ah, okay. Well, why don't you
don't do it now?
And we'll all give it a try. Yeah, but the stream isn't going to be long enough for you to do it all now.
Oh, 1 minute. So I thought I was already over here. 1 minute. Why can I not?
I don't know, but I'm having like palpitations that the word Google is on our stream, and I don't like it.
There you go. Look, see, there is no.
Right. So Brave settings search.
I'm already on the page.
Set to pre-search.
There is no pre-search.
There is no pre-search. Right, back to you, Roy.
Back to you in the studio. Google has to use boy.
We know nothing. Write this down, says Sir Francis. We're trying. Google how to use Brave, says Fearless Bear.
Allow Google login for extensions. At least that's set for no. You can't criticise me on that one.
What does it matter? You use Google anyway.
I don't like them to spy on my social stuff. Look.
Don't take this poison. Eat this poison instead. Zant says, don't say the G word. I'm starting to feel the same way, honestly. It's like... or the G word being... Throat. Sir Francis thinks the G word is ginger.
Oh, it's a low blow.
Wilfrey Gamer says...
Install the pre-search extension. Okay, right, 1 moment. Let's do that. This is a weird turn. Again, I suppose this is proof that the article is working.
It is.
It's got you thinking.
Better late than never. Wilfrey Gamer says, I'd rather learn Jordan was an alcoholic than learn he uses Google. Thank you very much for this, Roy. We're having a laugh and a joke, but this is important stuff. We do appreciate it.
I'm doing the pre-search.
Okay.
There we go. It's added. Right,
yes.
Now we're flipping it. Do I need to do? Go over here again. Go back to settings again. Go back to search engine again. Well, I mean, it is opened in a new tab. Google, please stop this. I'm attempting to do a live stream of showing people how to get away from your poisonous tentacles. You've got to stop messing me around. There you go. It's automatically added as the thing. There you go. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is to break away from Google. If you're one of those weird cretins who just type into the bloody search bar like a weirdo, that's what you need to do. You just go and get pre-search. Now, if you're a civilized person like me who deliberately goes to the search engine they want to go to, it's going to take a lot more work. But such is life.
Well, I can promise you this now. Jordan better remember all of this because I'm going to have him help me set this up on my Brave. So
again,
why
do that when you can just watch the replay?
Or you could just tell me to save me scrolling through this stream.
I just did a live demonstration. You could have done it with me. It could have been a follow-on. A follow-along
Well, we
stream.
could, but then I would have missed the important comments from our wonderful audience.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah. So there we go. So thank you very much, Roy. On a genuine note, this is real information that's actually useful. And we do appreciate it very much that Jordan was able to do that. You've broken his brainwashing, which is something we've been trying to do for ages. So well done, you. Okay.
Next one.
Where are we going?
Yes. Damn it, Jordan. Stop interrupting Andrew.
Right. Right. So number 3, start watching videos or streams on alternate video platforms such as Odyssey, BitChute, etc. instead of YouTube. So obviously, there's a lot more on YouTube at the moment. Luckily, others are catching up. Certainly, Odyssey's getting a lot more people on from a varied content as well. But if videos or streams are available on alternate ones as well as YouTube, hint, hint, this is why we fight. I would definitely recommend people just get used to watching it. For us, it's DLive tends to be the most active one. We've got an Odyssey which we want to build up as well. It might sound like only a tiny thing, but again, it's supporting these alternate platforms, while also just reducing the amount of watch time for YouTube. And on a related point, make sure that you follow us on multiple different platforms, especially the alternate ones, with the increased censorship on you, and no doubt even more. You never know what will happen. So if you want to keep up with us, you want to make sure that you're following us ideally everywhere, just in case.
Yes, YouTube have just brought out yet another edict to say that you can't discuss certain things at all. The reality is the censorship train will keep running while the agenda is struggling. And the agenda is certainly struggling. The propaganda is just on full steam right now. So yes, we could be taken down from any of these platforms at any time for no reason, with no notice, and we do not want to lose contact with you.
And to find out where we are, just go onto the website and go onto the links page as we've shown you, and everything will be there.
Indeed.
Yes, even if you just join the website, that's the central point for everything we do. And if you click on our links button, it gives you a link to all of our social media, all of the platforms that we stream from, and you can always find us. Again, the more the merrier. We don't know what's going on. You never really know who's a part of this agenda, who's playing a role as resistance, or who is actually resistance. So the reality is, trust no one and make sure that you are covered. So yes, back to you, Andrew.
All right. So the last one for this section that we'll go through is start getting familiar with decentralized web. So we're talking projects such as IPFS and DWeb. So the current version of the internet, which is 2.0, it's very centralized. And as we're seeing, it's very vulnerable to censorship. So there's a lot of projects out there that are trying to create a decentralized web. IPFS, which is Interplanetary File System, that's the one I've been playing around with. That's very easy to get started. So if anyone wants any help with that, I can go onto the Discord and just send me a message and I'll help you out. I might even do an article on it.
Or the Telegram.
Or Telegram. DWeb I haven't played around with, but and I don't know much about that one except it's a similar sort of thing. So just start getting used to them now. Give them your support, and hopefully that'll speed up the adoption and make it so that they can't shut us down.
It's the same with the farm shops, isn't it? The more of us that flood to these alternative platforms and alternative things, these things outside of the beast system, the faster they grow, the more efficient they become, the more investment they will put into their products because people are using them. It's always going to be the same issue when you first launch a new product. How do you get people to go to it? And the best recommendation has always been word of mouth. If you think someone has created something amazing, tell everyone, get people over there. The faster we move away from these centralized systems, the more free we become. Our opinions can once again be our own, and we need not be afraid of expressing them. Reboot Needed is asking, Andrew, do you have a preferred platform?
I quite like using Odyssey. I've got the Libre app, which is the same thing. It's just the desktop app. I like watching stuff on there. if I'm watching This Is Why We Fight, I'm always on D Live. I feel like it's a bit more of a cozy platform. It doesn't seem as, I don't know, it seems a lot more relaxed than YouTube. So that's where I prefer.
I've noticed that actually when I'm modding a stream, if I can't be on for any reason, I've noticed that D Live seems to be a bit more light-hearted and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a different atmosphere on D Live.
And it's nothing to do with the people on who are watching it either or commenting, because this is true for all of them. It's the actual platform itself. I think it's because of the fact you've got to basically walk on eggshells because of the censorship.
Yeah.
Whereas on D Live, all right, we know it's not been 100% after last year, but it just seems a bit more relaxed.
It's the lack of freedoms we had before 2020. D Live is the equivalent of that. You know, when we thought we were free, but we weren't, but we were more free than we are now. That's D Live. YouTube is like freedom in 2025. Whatever that's going to look like. Roy says, if you publish summary versions of your articles on Odyssey with link to full detailed article on the website, you can earn LBC tokens on Odyssey for the little extra work.
All right.
So that's also very useful. Thank you, Roy. Is there a link for the website, says Space Hopper Mark? Yes, there is. I'm sure. I'm so behind. Someone's posted it, is what I was going to say. Lacey May says, what is this platform about, please? We are here to build community, Lacey May. We are here to give people inspiration to become free, self-sufficient, to have real community, to have people they can count on, people that can count on them, to have food security, to raise their children safely. We are advocates of homeschooling, home education, and working with and for your community to create a safer place to live. Pretty much. Oh, you're from Canada. Well, welcome aboard. It's very good to have you here. Thank you very much for your comment. Let's just carry on and see. If you talk about certain subjects, Lacey May goes on to say, D-Live doesn't allow it. I've not noticed that, but... okay, well, I haven't been on D-Live for a while, to be fair. Away from the globalist system. Yes, Sir Francis. Good evening, Jonathan. Johnny Dip. Hi guys, I actually made it in time for once. Well, you are actually late, but okay, we'll ignore that.
He's close enough to on time. Leave him alone.
We've missed you, Johnny. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Reboot says, I watch the stream on D Live and follow the chat. The stream on YouTube and follow the chat on D Live. Maybe he's come to the same conclusion. It's just a different atmosphere. It really is. Okay, I have caught up. Back to you, Andrew.
All right, so counter economics. So start paying for things in cash. There's been a very recent push to do this, which is good. Oh, you've highlighted both of them, John.
Yeah, that's right. You need both of them. Which one is coming out?
It is a short-term stalling strategy, so it's not a long-term solution, but it's still worth doing. I've noticed, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, that some of the ATMs have been reduced, they've been taken away.
I've not noticed that.
I hadn't noticed that, but to be fair, I still use cashback. So
how the hell does cashback actually work?
So you go to a supermarket or a shop and you buy whatever your thing is, and say it comes to, I don't know, $6.99. You can then ask for cashback up to whatever their limit is. So they'll charge you the $6.99 plus, say, £20. Mm-hmm. They'll give you £20 with your receipt.
Right. So basically, it's like an ATM, but at the till.
Essentially, yes. So
why don't they just call it that then?
So your card would be debited for $26.99, and you get the 20 back as cash.
Okay, that's reasonable. Fair enough.
I just want to point out something I found online today as well, just in relation to this point that Andrew's making. Apparently, Nebraska has refused, they're the first state in America to refuse to go along with Biden's snooping plans. Apparently, there is a plan by the Federal Reserve, or by all banks actually, to report every transaction over $600 to the IRS. There's also another story I found, just again in relation to this. The Bank of America online banking system went down today. So this is so reminiscent of Greece. But when a bank system goes down and you cannot access your money, they are withholding your access to your property. So just think about that. Just think about, are these little set up stages, little strategies to get us used to these things happening?
Well, especially when you take in mind things such as the Duconomy card, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Is that the right thing? That basically the environmental friendly credit card, which tells you how much you can spend. And then in this country specifically, you've got ministers criticising people, saying they don't need to buy petrol. You know, you start expanding this out, and they're definitely closing the news.
Yeah. I do agree, Xanth. I was just explaining what it was. I do agree. Cash, I mean, Jonathan said this as well. Cash is king. We know that cash is part of the fiat currency. It was something we want to move away from. But until there is a viable alternative, cash is better than electronic transactions right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best thing we currently have for non-digital transactions. So for now, we'll have to use it.
There's a couple of comments. Jonathan's.
Hang on. Let's go to Jonathan's first. This one?
Yeah.
3 ATMs.
Yeah, well, this cashless society talk is honestly sinister because it means that literally everything you do will be tracked and logged somewhere. Mm-hmm. And we know these people can be trusted with our personal data, of course. But 3 in one town is excessive. Yeah.
And then reboots.
This I find amazing.
What the hell business is out of theirs?
This is so much overreach. How dare they question what you do with your money? I don't even know what to say to that.
Once again, this is because people over the last couple of years specifically have started accepting this mentality of other people telling you what you do and don't need. We've seen this a number of times now. It's so incredibly toxic and corrosive. It will only lead to this way of thinking, where it's acceptable for the bank or the government or whoever to decide what you do and don't need. The most obvious and specific example would be during the pandemic when they were limiting people to the number of bog rolls and things like that they could buy.
Rations.
Exactly.
When they start rationing your access to money, we are in a lot of trouble.
Especially when they start rationing your access to things, but giving preferential treatment to certain people. That is a major, major, major problem, and one we didn't call out at the time, from my perspective, because I didn't think of it, but I'm sure other people certainly did.
Yeah.
When they started doing things like prioritizing the ambulance drivers and what have you, being allowed to go into shops first, we should have started calling it out there and then that no, you can't do this. That is an immoral action. Because what they are in effect saying is everyone else can starve. So long as these people don't, it's fine. They are literally prioritizing who is most important in society. They are creating a them and us situation where they are literally making sure that they do not starve.
It's also an illogical action. If you're going to prioritize people who save people over people who get saved, and in the process you starve all the people that would be saved, then the people who save people would be out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely illogical and immoral, as you said. This is an arbitrary placing of value again on some people over others. Just another reminder that we do not matter to these people. We're numbers in the machine. We are ants. They don't care. If they cared, everyone would actually be treated equal. I keep hearing about equality all the time. From every news outlet, from every TV show, I've yet to see it in action. Anywhere. So, yeah. Zant says clear all debts where possible. This is so important. If anyone can recall, we showed everyone an email, a Canadian email, back in just before Christmas or just after.
It was a while ago. It was before Christmas.
Basically saying that part of this agenda, if this were to play out this way, would be if you cannot be coerced by other means to do what somebody wants you to do, without going into detail, because, that they can use leverage against you. And one of those ways of leveraging your actions is to use your debts against you, your property, your assets, and then your debts. Offering to write off your debts if you are a well-behaved little person and do as you're told is another way that they have leverage and power and authority over you. We know that these people can unperson you online. Easy enough for them to erase your debts. Easy enough for them to do the opposite, right? So yes, if you are using credit, think twice. If it's something you don't need, I highly advise do not get it, because it may come back to bite you later on. And it's such an amazing feeling to know that you are free of debt. Almost all my life I've been in debt. I got free of debt a few years ago, and there's nothing like it. I don't have to worry about who comes to the door. I don't have to worry about letters through the letterbox. I know I don't owe people money. And it truly is a freeing feeling. So, yeah, if you are in debt, try and get them cleared if you can afford to. If you haven't been in debt, good on you. If you are considering going into debt for something you've been convinced you need, really, really think about it. Do you actually need it, or has someone just told you that you do? This brainwashing is rife, and we are all subject to it. And again, this is a journey. Some people are fighting off some, but they're still deeply inculcated in others. It's a hell of a lot. It's a lifetime of brainwashing that we are trying to overcome. Then no one's going to judge anyone if they're struggling a bit, because it's just overwhelming. It's too much. It's overload. We'll get there if we work together. Right, sorry, I took over that a bit. Sorry, Ronewood just corrected me, and I think he's right, actually. No, it's bank property. You're just asking them to hold it, correct. Actually, because like with the car thing, you are the registered keeper, not the owner. Zant says sounds like programming. I do agree. Absolutely. Let me just catch up. I think that's all of it. Good evening, Boudica. Right. So just on that comment that I mentioned about the IRS and the bank tracking, Will says that blatantly unconstitutional money tracing program is the single largest tax increase for the working class since the IRS was created. And of course, we all know why it was created and who it benefits. Mm-hmm. Johnny Dip says, for years I've been trying to get everyone to use cash instead of cards and all, but no one will. That's all I ever use. I think lots of people are starting to. Again, it's a journey. Unfortunately, you can only sort of prod people into the general direction of doing what's right for them. We don't want to become tyrannical ourselves. We can only lead people to solutions. We cannot force them to embrace them.
Yeah. And in regards to the cash thing, before we move on, it's like time and a place, as it were. It would help a lot if we use cash in regards to jobs, but if you're shopping at somewhere like Tesco, Walmart, whatever, it doesn't matter. Then just use card, be done with. I see no benefit of using cash in those situations.
Well, I think you do have a point to some degree, because if you're planning on boycotting these big supermarkets eventually anyway, then it's like the death throes, isn't it? The digital currency. Again, though, just imagine the difference it would make if everyone just stopped doing these things overnight. It would hurt them a lot. So it doesn't matter how long it takes us to get there, as long as we get there. Anglo-Saxon sent another £5. Thank you. It's a wicked world we live in. Stay strong, my brothers and sisters. Well said. Tom Peace just said, just mentioning the point you made, Jordan, NHS staff also got discounts at supermarkets. Mm-hmm. I remember that too. That's again, these arbitrary designs on society. You have more value than you, therefore you are going to get privilege over you. So Francis sums it up best, though. The world is run by loonies. Don't expect any of it to make sense. That might be a watchword. I think I'm going to start every stream with that, or end every stream. Remember, everyone. Yes, citizens' advice can actually be useful. You know, if you are in debt, seek help. There are lots of organisations out there. Why not utilise them? Oatcake says, we or someone must seriously plan and start up a parallel economic community. We are trying.
That is indeed what we're trying. And you can find more information out about that under the cottage industry overviews.
Yes, and Andrew has delved massively into counter economics. I will say, though, you can all help us by spreading the word. The faster we grow, the more people that embrace these solutions, the quicker these solutions will happen. It's really that simple. So anyway, right. Andrew is the person to ask about this. He's not claiming to be an expert. He's just done loads of research.
I claim him to be an expert. And I tell you what, if anyone disagrees with me, he'll fight you. He'll fight you on my behalf.
Oh, so Andrew will fight if anyone disagrees with Jordan. I'm not sure Andrew wants. I'm not sure this is a good deal for Andrew.
No, that's how it works, right? This is up there with the Jordan duel.
Right. Okay.
I want your prop. Fight me for it. If I win, I get it. If I lose, I'll leave you alone.
That's like Game of Thrones, isn't it? Where you can have someone else fight for you.
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing?
And you just pull out some bulked up monster.
I tell you, I wouldn't have fight for me.
Go on.
Joshua.
Who?
Anthony Joshua. It was a good joke for those who got it.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't buy into the sports brainwashing. Okay.
Oh. Look, I'm just saying that Muhammad Ali had a wonderful, wonderful phrase when it came to boxing. It was just perfect. This is certainly something I agree with fully.
What, float like a butterfly?
No. His other one, the quote that they never quote.
I want my grandchildren to look like me.
No. Boxing's the only sport where you can watch something fight something.
Ah.
Anyway, carry on.
I remember that quote. Yes. Everyone who knows. Right. Okay. Back to Andrew. Sorry about that. Carry on.
Diversion of the century.
Right. Number 2. Stop buying from big corporations such as Amazon, and instead prioritize buying from local or small to medium-sized private businesses instead. Amazon is obviously one of the worst ones, but admittedly it's also incredibly convenient, which is how they've got us in this mess, or one of the reasons why they were in this mess. This year I've only bought one thing from Amazon, and that was a hair clippers, and only because after I tried to buy it from the WoW website, after literally 15 times and getting in touch with the support, they wouldn't take my money. It wouldn't go through, so I had to.
I've never heard of a big company to take money.
I was going to say, I can't say that's ever been a problem for me.
Things like for books are a perfect example of this. I've been buying books from Wordery and Blackwell's instead of Amazon. Now, if you need a book and you can't get it anywhere except Amazon, okay, don't beat yourself up over it. But don't go to Amazon as the first port of call. Go through Wordery, Blackwell's, then maybe go to eBay. Book Depository and A-Books are also owned by Amazon, so you got to be careful with that.
Well, aside from books as well, it's worth noting that in many cases, Amazon is merely the supplier. They don't produce the goods. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of companies, unfortunately, because of the way the government has just flatlined their businesses, who are forced to use platforms like Amazon to sell their wares. It's always worth, because it's so easy now, you literally can see the link to the actual business, and you can click on the link and see what that business is about, rather than buying from Amazon. Find out if there's a website and buy direct.
Exactly what I was going to say, and that's what I do when I need to buy things. If it is at all worth it, I'll go onto Amazon and then look up who the person is actually selling it and try to find a like a proper website that is their own, and then buy it off of them.
Yeah. Don't be the used, be the user. Amazon are using us. Let's use them. Use them as the convenience of finding the link to the direct seller. And then find out who that seller is. And then you can bypass Amazon completely. Right, there's a couple of comments I want to read before you carry on, Andrew. Hasdak says, local shops never got what I require. Do I use eBay?
So,
again,
not do. He corrected himself.
Oh, sorry. So I use eBay. Oh, right. I thought that was a question. Now it's a statement. But that's fine. Again, there are legitimate businesses being forced to use these platforms. They've just been destroyed by the lockdown mandates and various other things that have gone on in the last year and a half. It's up to you to make personal decisions about this. You don't have to adopt every single practical solution that we're laying out. It's impossible for anyone to adopt them all overnight. Do what you can and do what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And Will Free Gamer says, Amazon is like an Asian-owned corner store. It may be convenient, but it's not worth it. Well said. That should be the new Hairspray advert. It may be convenient, but I'm not worth it. I saw another one I wanted to... Hasdak says there is a book by Richard Mabey called Food for Free. Thank you very much for that recommendation.
I think that's on the list of books I'm going to buy next.
Ooh.
I think I've had that one before and then got rid of it.
Nice.
Again.
And Jonathan says, always buy from Tubbs and Edwards shop. Do you want to drop a link for that one in the chat, Jonathan, if you're able to, please? Michael Pagan says, corner shops mean. Couldn't have said it better myself. So Francis says, truth. Ah, wonderful. Right, I'm going to drop the link to that book that was mentioned. Thank you for that, Andrew. If anyone would like to go have a look and see if it's your cup of tea. And yes, Jonathan, if you can drop the Tubbs and Edwards link, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And back to you, Andrew.
Right, so number 4. Let's repair or even make your own items.
Well, there we go. That's it. The website is now an absolute failure. We have an editor who can't spell.
No, we have a highlighter who didn't highlight number 3.
We're not doing 3. We're doing 4.
Okay.
Right, we also have a co-host who can't read notes, apparently, but okay.
So we're all to blame.
What do you want to blame? I'm innocent. I ain't done anything. You leave me alone.
Yeah, so I'll change that one. So yeah. So yeah, learn to repair your own items is a really good skill set, and it's going to become very valuable if things become really bad. But if you can make your own items, it's even better. And with both of them, it really allows you to start thinking about not only becoming more valuable to a community, so you've got something else you can offer, but you can create maybe a side business or even build it up to a full-time business, repairing things or creating things. Very important. It's something that we need to be doing. If we're wanting to pull out of this system, we're going to have to make our own things.
Now, in terms of making things, we are incredibly, incredibly lucky in that we have a number of people who are exceptionally good at making things. The latest one from today is Andrew.
That's truly amazing. Come on. Woohoo! Well done, Andrew. Andrew made this from scratch, by hand, with his own fair hands.
Yeah, it's the first time I've made it. It was certainly an experience. I've been needing a belt because I bought 2 of them from Primark ages ago, 2 for $5. So you get what you pay for, and it was starting to fall to pieces. So I bought a strip of leather and the belt buckle and loop. Interesting doing it. Certainly learned a lot. I think I'm definitely gonna do another one and do it a bit better and a bit different as well.
Andrew, for anyone who's unfamiliar with your work, maybe people who aren't on the Discord, can you just explain to people what your previous experience with working with leather was and how long you've been doing this?
Oh, I've done. I think that might have been my 6th item that I've made.
Since
April? No.
Yep.
Yeah, March.
I don't. I think something like that.
Which just goes to show if you are determined to learn and you're in a position where you can buy some scraps of material or something. I mean, Andrew has learned this because he knew that he needed to. And that's what's so fantastic about this. He's never worked.
I've just seen what Free Gamer said. Andrew must be in good shape because that belt looks really tight. Yeah.
Wow.
So
it does look tiny.
I measured my other belt that I got from Primark, and then I put it onto this belt, and I measured it about 3 times. I marked it all up, punched the holes, and then I got a tool for the corner, that pointy corner. So I did that, and then when I lined it up again, it was about 1.5 inches shorter. How that happened, I have no idea. Now, luckily, it does fit. It's just instead of it being the second to last hole inside the belt, it's the second to last hole on the pointy end. So you live and learn.
That's still a fantastic effort, though. The fact that you do not work in that industry, that you had no previous experience, and just in relation to that, I'm going to bring up something Boudica posted, a comment here. Boudica has been working just flat out. She's been growing things. She's been making things. She's currently working on mending clothes. She's currently making clothes. This is, again, all done by hand. That's amazing.
She made a smock the other day and did a great job at it.
So it just goes to show that, again, if we can provide these guides, this information, all in one place, people are going to have so many choices. We've talked about future communities and the fact that you will only have value in a community if you can provide something, a service or a good, because that's how I think the future is going to be. You can literally teach yourself anything if you've got access to the internet right now. We don't know how long that's going to last. Let's not waste the time that we have. Let's start trying these things out. What Boudica has done there, you literally could try with an old piece of rag just to learn the technique. Mm-hmm. And then if it's something you turn out to be very good at, you can then invest in some cloth. So it needn't cost you a penny to start with. Just the cost of the basic materials.
And you've got something that is completely unique. You have something that is truly unique in both look, in terms of fabric weight and overall design, and the fact that you made it.
And it's made to measure. You have made this specifically to fit a certain person. Imagine the money we'd save in the future if we could simply make clothes that our children wear. Think how expensive they are and just how quickly children grow out of them. Mm-hmm. Hand-me-downs, hand-me-downs were there for a reason. Quality clothes would last. And are we going to talk about the white privilege? Apparently, if you wore hand-me-downs, you had privilege. You were so poor that you had privilege. Brilliant. That logic kicking in again with the wokerati. But yes, so again, these pictures are up on Discord. If you want to go and have a look, if you want to ask Boudica or Andrew anything at all about these processes, you can catch them on Discord or our Telegram chat.
Apparently, it was only a sample that would fit a doll, but even so,
it's not the point.
Even so, you extrapolate that out, and you've nailed it.
Yes, practice makes perfect. Why would you practice on expensive material? Practice first. It's like that measure twice, cut once, or in Jordan's case, don't measure at all because I'm excellent and just cut and get it right first time.
Yeah, there you
go. Dual Citizen says, fair play, counter economics is a great strategy, everything in increments. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're not going to change things overnight. We've got to build up to it. We've got to get people on board with it. And steps towards solutions is far better than aiming high and failing. So, yes. Nice belt, fair play, says Roy Kinson. Really well done, Andrew, honestly.
Perfect for pygmy.
Right, I'm catching up on these. Are people being rude, or is it just you two?
What do you mean us two?
Perfect for who said perfect for a picnic? I'm
It was
catching
Will.
up. Will, oh, you're mean. There you go. There's a nice one from Sir Francis. Excellent work, Andrew. Will, you're being mean because you're just a bit snippy about Joe Biden's plans for your $600.
Only take out $599 for now on.
Yeah. Come on, everyone. You need to play the game. If they're tracking 600, never take out more than 599. Dual citizens there. There's another funny comment. Belting effort. There we go. Are you selling the belts? Reboot Needed is asking.
I'm hoping to start up as a little leather business. So the belts, I think, are going to be one of the product lines. I prefer not to go into just wallets. I think that's a pretty oversaturated market.
Agreed.
So quality leather belts that are made to last, I'd like to do. Maybe bags. I've not made a bag yet, so we'll have to see. But that's the sort of direction that I think I'm going to go in. But definitely belts.
Well, we're going to need bags to carry around all the cash that we'll be carrying soon. So yes, we need to get on that. And just to be fair, a lot of comments in the chat regarding Boudica's fantastic work there that I didn't see because I was focused on something else. As always, well done, Boudica. Will says that's beautiful work. I'm not going to click them all. I'll be here forever. Philomena says it's beautiful. My stepdad's not mean says good stuff, Boudica. Will says yes, Boudica is a busy mum. And she is also, so she's raising a family. She has a husband. She is doing so many things and she is educating her children at home. So full credit where it's deserved there. She is absolutely amazing.
And then she claims she can't multitask.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is fascinating to me.
She is a powerhouse for this community. And we're so grateful to have her. Right. Perfect for a pygmy. I just found it.
I told you it was good.
Will's on fire tonight. Oh, Will's apologised to any pygmies. Of course, if any pygmies in the chat are offended by any of the comments you've heard tonight, we don't care. Moving on. Yes, simple functional clothes for men and women. This ties in with really what Andrew wants to make. We're talking in both cases here about quality goods that are going to last. But again, until people move away from the sort of cheap tat and start investing their money in these quality clothes, or not until rather, but the more people do, the price will come down because people are selling more, because these materials will be mass produced and they will become cheaper. In Boudica's case, she hates the word mass produced. She wants to create her own material from scratch, by hand. That's truly amazing. No half measures. I've yet to hear that Andrew's going to go out and start skinning cows, but I believe he'll get there in the future.
I've asked him about this. He says he has no interest.
What? But
I know.
But Andrew, but they fart too much. You have to do this. Will is also asking, this is for Andrew now, could you make a leather executioner hood mask for Halloween?
I think I'm sick of masks. I never want to see one of those things for the rest of my life.
And Roy is also asking about bespoke leather masks. I'm wondering if they're hinting at something else here.
Yeah.
None of that degenerate stuff, people. Come on.
Before we move on too far beyond it, Boudica did also say that she's made a woman's shift as well.
Oh, well, okay. So I'm still catching up.
No, it was directly after her last comment.
Oh, I missed
as
it.
I said,
then
before
apologies.
we move beyond it.
Reboot Needed says, genuinely, put me down for a belt, I'll buy one. That's awfully kind of you. And I guess watch this space. Again, if you want to speak to Andrew directly, hit him up on the Telegram or the Discord. And yes, I'm sure you'll be able to come to some arrangement. But Andrew has done an amazing job. Again, just to remind you all, this is all done by hand. No one has a machine of any kind. This is all done by hand. So I think it's just amazing, and well done both. Yay! Boudica has backtracked on her original statement. She can multitask, because she is currently knitting and chatting. So there you go. Oh, that's a good idea. Oatcake says do a live auction on the channel. We could do. That would be interesting. There's lots of ideas we've got for doing things on the channel. We really want to make it interactive so that you get something out of it as well. So you're not just passive observers. But any suggestions that are interactive like that, please keep them coming. Roy says the scientific name for pygmies is where the hell are we? Right, we're caught up back to Andrew. Thank you all.
Yeah, and so with the leather, still got a way to go before I feel comfortable selling the stuff. There's a lot of things on that particular belt. I'm thinking, oh, I could do this better. I want to try different techniques for securing the belt loop and the buckle. But yeah, I think I'm gonna put a lot more effort into the belt specifically, try and get that down, and I can start selling it. Also, I think I'll need a stamp as well, maybe a custom stamp with a name and maybe a logo.
Yes.
Put it at the back of it. So I'll have to think about that as well.
Well, I was going to mention as well for materials, if anyone works in any of these industries that makes the buckles themselves, you may be a supplier for Andrew in the future. You know, from everything comes everything else. We need to make a start somewhere, and every idea will expand. But for us to make things, we need raw materials. Maybe you could produce them or provide them.
Custom leather buckles. They're custom buckles. That'd be fantastic.
Yes, wouldn't it just? And again, you know, this would be a bespoke item. You'd make a fantastic name for yourself. Your brand would be trusted. It could be the start of a business for you. Oh, Tom's...
Yeah, I've just seen that one.
Really good suggestion for you. Chicago screw studs. Can we see what they look like, please?
I've seen them. Yeah, I'll look into that. I think I'll want to try the different methods of securing it and see which one I like the best. And plus, I need to factor in the cost as well. I'd like to try and position the leather goods that I make so it can be for a bigger audience. I want to make it for the average man and woman rather than the high-end stuff. I think, I think that's going to be where I can make the most value.
Well, this is the thing, you know, all of our nations have historically produced quality goods at reasonable prices. That's something I'd very much like to get back to, because we're being overcharged now for rubbish.
Well, that's the thing, it's rubbish, and then you just have to waste more money every year. Well, people who don't have a lot of money, if they can buy one belt, one decent belt that's going to last them 20 years, well, that'll save them a lot of money over time, and they'll get the enjoyment out of a proper high quality belt that looks better. It's just, I think it's just the best way forward.
It absolutely is. It's also, you know, we talk about this all the time. We're not exactly environmentalists in so much as, you know, this green agenda has really put people off of that word. Do we care about our environment? Yes, of course we do. Do we care about our country? Yes, of course we do. We don't want to have all this waste, all these landfills. It looks appalling. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for the wildlife. Again, if you're buying one item and it's lasting you 10 years, 20 years, think of all the things you're not throwing away and constantly replacing. A lot of these things can't be recycled. This is another really good reason to do it. We're not trying to preserve our lands for no good reason. We want our children to inherit something healthy and safe and beautiful. And this is just another effort to go towards that. Will says the new site looks beautiful. Thank you so much, Will. Everyone's worked so hard. It really does mean a lot. And Roy suggested that you could initially maybe 3D print the buckles.
Well, the 3D printed buckles would work.
I'm not sure
in terms of pure strength.
Well, those ones are brass. I think I like the colour of that.
Yeah, agreed.
But it'd be interesting to know if there's any metal craftsmen who can actually make really intricate buckles. Maybe something like I'm thinking Art Nouveau. I really like Art Nouveau style. So maybe somebody could do something like that. I think that'd be interesting just to see it and then see if it'd fit on a belt, if it looked really good on a belt.
Yeah. Yeah, again, this is why we're building this community. This is why we all need to work together, because every one of the skills that we mention, and there are thousands we don't because there's just not enough time, there is going to be someone who has that skill. Maybe they haven't found us yet. Maybe we haven't found them yet. But the reality is people are still making these things right now. So once we come together, we're going to have all these skilled tradesmen, all these people who can share their skills, who can transfer their skills, come together and work together. We will be our own supply chains, which means we'll never be in this position again. And that to me is real safety.
It must be said, these are some seriously fancy belt buckles.
They're lovely. They're absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, that would be a little weird and creepy.
Oh, no. Yeah. I don't like the idea of having children's faces near your pubic bone.
You could be Batman.
Jonathan is asking, have you considered making boots?
Well, I've fantasized about it. The actual making of boots or any sort of shoe, that is a specialization in and of itself. Mm-hmm. I'd love to give it a go, but I don't think I'm anywhere near that level at the moment. I think let's just get belts down first.
I will say,
I'd love to make one. I'd love
from
to get
a community standpoint, we do need shoes. We so rarely talk about it. We're going to need footwear.
You have to make do with sandals.
Or just, bits like flip-flops or something. I don't know.
Oh, no. Flip-flops are awful. I'm not
leather
Crocs either, for that matter.
I truly hate flip-flops. That was very facetious. Flip-flops are nasty. That thing between your toe is unnatural. Oatcake says, can you make the buckles from recycled metal? Or I don't think he's asking, actually. He's suggesting recycled metal. Yes, I mean, obviously it can be melted down and repurposed.
Roy's not happy about you.
Oh, Jordan, what?
Oh, for the love of God, I can't help it.
Oh my God, the brainwashing is really deep with this one, Roy. Do you know the funny thing is, had I not seen that comment, I didn't catch it myself.
I can't help it. It's an unnatural reaction. I want to look on Google. What do? I go to Google. I can't help it.
Right, come off of Google, which we're never ever going to say again on this stream, and open up the page that is the page. Look, it's taking him that long because he's not sure how to do it.
Change back to Brave. Keep it. It's fine. Right, there we go. This is pre-search. There. This is breaking my brain. There. Okay, is everybody happy now?
Yes, happier at least.
I don't like it. It feels weird.
I want everyone on the streams. If Jordan does this G search again, call him out on it, please. This is how we break the conditioning. So Jonathan says he has a leather belt that he got around 30 years ago, handmade Cornish cowhide. I'd love to see pictures of it, Jonathan, if it's in good enough condition. It must be a bit worn now after 30 years, but quality always shows. Philomena's giving you grief now as well. Look, letting the side down.
This is why other websites are inferior, right? I now want to change what I want to look at. I don't have a bar. It's infuriating.
You do it so the top is right there.
I have to go up to it. It's not convenient.
You have to go up to the other one.
I do not. It's there on the other one. It stays there.
Well, you know what? If you start using this site more, maybe they'll develop it and make it a bit more user-friendly. Goodness sake.
This is going to stress me out. I can feel it already.
Right, Xanth is calling for your deprogramming. Stat.
Yeah, in like a simple looking belt buckle like that shouldn't be terribly difficult to make.
Have you seen what Boudica's written? Jordan needs his hand slapped every time he says or types in that G word. Everyone's agreeing with her.
Adam's on my side.
This
Adam
stream
is
has
on my
ended in a
side.
really different place than it started. Naughty step, says Sir Francis. Will says a shock collar. I think you're going a bit far now. Roy says, now you've made the account, you'll earn crypto as you search. There, see, you're getting paid.
No,
You're
you
getting
need to
paid
make-
to look
No,
this
no,
stuff
I
up.
need to
one.
go out of my way to create a free search account.
Yes, but then you'll get paid. Like free money.
I do like free money. Must
There
be
you
said.
go.
Anyway,
it can be used for marketing as well. The pre-tokens.
Yeah, Adam,
that
come
could
on,
be
that's
used
not
for
helping. Don't be on Jordan's side. Jordan is so rarely able to admit that he's wrong. Please let us enjoy this moment.
I will freely admit that I'm completely wrong on this one. I should be using the likes of pre-search. It is just an internalized. It's like what the feminists go on about with the internalized misogyny. Right? It's like that. It's internalized.
Nothing like that.
It is. It's internalized Googology. Right? I can't help it.
Yeah, but one is real and one is fake.
I don't know what you
I
mean.
will say though, this is muscle memory. This is autopilot. You know, you're so used to doing things, it is hard to break
real to me.
Oh God. There may be some people who know where that quote comes from, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Right. Boudica says, the time of convenience is over. I do think, again, I've said this before, I'm not a religious person, but I can't think of a better analogy than we have sold our souls for convenience.
Agreed.
We have sold everything that makes us who we are for convenience and a life of ease and a path of least resistance. We've got to start working hard now because we're working for ourselves. We benefit now. There's no better incentive than that.
Just getting back to the belt buckle thing, it shouldn't really be totally difficult to make. Obviously, you need all the equipment that you would need in general, like some way to forge the metal and, well, cast it. I suppose, yeah, you're going to need your little casting imprints and all that sort of thing. But yeah, it shouldn't be totally difficult.
It would be truly wonderful. Yeah, they look amazing. Anyone who can make something like that deserves to be really proud of themselves. Oh, you're lucky. Will's relented. He said maybe not a shot collar. But then Sir Francis suggested maybe a cattle prod. This is not going well for you, honestly. Oatcake makes a really good point here, and we've said this before. Comfort is our worst enemy. We can't wait until we feel supremely uncomfortable. We are going to become uncomfortable. Why not prepare now while we're still in a position to do so without all the added stress and anxiety? Because things are overwhelming right now, and it is overload on our brains. You're going to do your best work from a place of safety and security rather than being just anxiety riddled and having no money and no prospects and no future. Maybe your home's at risk. Let's not wait until we get to that point. Now is the time to prepare. Yeah, Boudica got it. It was really in his mind. Casting the metal might be easier. Look, Tash is already putting in an order here, Andrew. I'd like a dark blue belt with a butterfly buckle. I'm absolutely certain that we can sort something out in the future. Practice makes perfect. But yeah, if anyone's handy with any of these skills that we've mentioned, please come forward. Even if you're just, learning these things yourself. No one here is claiming to go from novice to expert just overnight. It's a process. And the process will take time. I mean, most of Andrew's work with the articles and with the leather work, it's a process. And, he's made things before and he said, I'm not really happy with that. I'm going to do it again. Constant self-improvement creates the experts that we used to have in our country. Constant self-improvement. Arguably, you must fail to improve. Oh, bless you, Boudica. So she stopped the socks and started the hat for the auction. That's such a good idea. I think we might do that for Christmas. So if anyone wants some free Christmas presents, I don't know how we're going to do the auction.
We'll have to work it out.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. You all know me. You know how I feel about taking money. I really, it doesn't make me comfortable. I don't know. We'll discuss this further. Really like your input on the auction too. This is a community at the end of the day. Everyone has a voice here. Roy says the Chinese are banging out 3D metal printed belt buckles for cash on Alibaba while we're still talking about maybe it won't work. I think the thing with the metal printing, the 3D printing, is you obviously have to have the right kind of printer to use things like metal. And it means having the printer. And obviously these can become quite costly. I think initially Andrew would like to keep his costs down until he can invest in his own business. I'm almost certain that's what you said before. Rather than buying a machine, it might be easier just to buy the buckles from someone else initially before you can find a solution for it. What would you say to that?
Yeah, I think at this point it's just learning, trying different things out, see what works the best before I commit to any particular direction.
Yeah.
As I said, I tried it with the fastening everything with thread. It's worked, but I'm not happy with it, so I want to try something else. There's the Chicago screws, and then there's rivets. I think there's another one as well. So I'll just try it. I'll make a load of belts, try different ones out, and see what works the best. Then once I've got it all sorted and I know what works, that's when I can start product lines. So hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later.
Okay, yeah. Again, this is a process. Many of us haven't run businesses where we're producing stuff before, so it's going to be a learning curve for the whole aspect of the business, not just the product itself. So while it may take us a while to kind of get that flow going, there's so much to research because it's more than just the product. It's setting up the business, it's setting up a website, it's setting up the payment structure, it's pricing everything, sourcing materials. It's going to take a while to get the first one off the ground. The more we do it, obviously the easier and quicker it will become. But it is a bit nerve-wracking because you want to do it properly rather than quickly. Sometimes, more haste, less speed and all that. Roy's asking what happened to the 3D printer project, Jordan.
That is still in the works. It's delayed for the time being. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back onto that. It will be a while, though. That isn't an immediate thing.
Well, I was going to say it may be delayed until next year because the weather being how it is, that's one issue. The other issue was time and space. We are working on it. We are determined to get this project done. So watch this space and we will let you know if there's any update. Buy them off the Chinese, says Roy, talking about the belt buckles. It's about quality, though, isn't it? It's not about getting them cheap. It's about buying quality. If you're going to make a quality belt, why would you have some cheap mass-produced buckle on it?
This is one thing where it is definitely... let's say somebody wants to take up blacksmithing, for example. Something small like a belt buckle, it might be a bit fiddly, but because it's small, you're not using terribly much in terms of material. It's also going to be relatively speedy to make, so you'd be able to knock out multiple of those in a day and actually become really, really proficient at it really, really quickly. And then you can start selling them.
The problem
Or at
is
least trading them.
the problem is, as Boudica showed us, it's having access to the practice material.
Yes.
And
Well, in terms of metal, that's not too much of an issue.
There certainly must be ways to get your hands on recycled metal, for sure. There must be suppliers. Again, the supply chain is a bit of an issue for people like us.
Just talking about supply chain in general, I needed some plugs earlier on. I was talking to Joe about this morning. The 16 amp to 13 amp plugs is what I needed. At the beginning of the summer, I bought a couple, and they were about £6. they're now selling on Amazon, which is pretty much the only place you can find the damn things in the country, with like reasonable shipping and reasonable like delivery times, basically. They're now selling for 25 quid, up from 5.
It's such a massive inflation system that we've got going on right now. I mean, Will mentioned the beef earlier, the steak. I've noticed actually since Brexit, and I'm not blaming Brexit, I'm not getting on the old woke bandwagon here, but since Brexit, I've noticed that products become smaller and the price has gone up.
It's been this way for years.
But I think I've paid more attention.
Noticeable.
Yeah. So this is always the way things go. You're going to get less and it's going to cost you more. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way things are going to be now. Until, again, we start producing for and by ourselves. My stepdad's not mean mentioned, can you get, or is it possible to get an adjustable parts 3D printer so that you're able to work with a variety of materials? I think we did look into that, didn't we? And I know that you need a very specific one for metal because it's heated metal for obvious reasons.
In terms of plastic printing, no. So in terms of plastic printing, yes, it's basically you buy the right extruder and then you're able to do all of it, including wood, which I didn't know was a thing.
Yeah, but we looked at a few examples, and to be honest, it didn't look that good. Maybe things will improve.
I thought it did. I thought it was excellent. It was interesting at the very least. It was really, really interesting that they're able to do that.
Yeah, but it didn't have the smooth finish if it had been made on lathe or something. There were lines through it, because obviously it's been fed through like spaghetti, hasn't it?
Yeah, so but it's still very, very cool.
But I suppose you could, sand it down and varnish it, and it would probably look just as good when it's finished. Rub it. That's Jordan's answer to everything. I've got a headache. Rub it. Oatcake says, steel, hang on, waiting for it to come up. Steel rod, drill hammer, vice, big pliers, and a design. It can be done that way. I mean, hammered steel is amazing. But again, it's finding the space. We live in these tiny little rabbit hutch homes here in England. And, not everyone has a shed or a workshop. So it's finding the space to do this kind of work. And working with metal, of course, you're heating metal.
I'm very lucky in that I have a massive shed. It's just full of stuff.
Yes.
To an unbelievable extent.
So full,
and
in
finally,
fact, I was
after
shocked.
clearing it out and showing Jo, she finally understood what I mean when I said there's a lot of stuff in the shed.
Tom says you can buy those plug parts from a company and make your own.
You got confused between Juicens and Screwfix.
Yes, he did. He did correct himself. He meant Screwfix. We know you meant that, Tom. Good night, Boudica. Take care.
Well, they're owned by the same company, aren't they?
Juicen and Screwfix.
Yeah, Juicens and Screwfix and B&Q, they're all the same company.
They may as well be. All the money goes in the same pocket, doesn't it? So, but yes. So we have problems to overcome. We have issues to be aware of going forward. But that will not deter us from our course, because if we quit at the first hurdle, it's over. We're never going to improve things. So we will find workarounds, we will find solutions, and we will keep surging forward, because we have no choice but to do this now. We must do this. So I really want everyone to think about what they're going to bring to a community in the future, because we must have them. Everyone outside of these communities, everyone who is isolated from groups, who is not part of something, is going to be like the straggler in the group when the lion's looking for prey. We've got to be part of something that offers us protection, security, stability, and safety, which means we've got to produce a good or a service or be of some value to that community. And it doesn't matter what it is. We've said this before. This is not about physical hard work. Not everyone's in a position to provide that. You may have a hobby. You might make toy airplanes. Children's toys. They're going to be part of these communities. We really need to think about everything a community needs to survive. What can I contribute to that community? What out of that massively long list that society has, that they buy, that they consume, that they produce, that they eat, that they drink, could I be a part of? We've mentioned before, libraries. We're going to need libraries. We're going to preserve works, historical works. We're going to need people to work in those libraries. We're going to need people to deliver lessons in our community schools. There's loads of things you can do. If you're injured and you can't work anymore, maybe you can teach your skills to someone. There is always something everyone can do. It's just a case now of finding what that thing is. Find your thing and embrace it. And that sounds really bad. If anyone clips this, Fearless Bear, I'm not going to be amused. But find
Talking of
something that that you're passionate about and that you can invest time in, which will probably be low cost. And just go for it. Sorry.
I'm bloody trying to go for it.
You were interrupting me. I do wish you'd stop doing that.
I was trying to you let me segue, and then you weren't letting me. Talking of whatever the hell Joe was saying about.
See, he wasn't even listening.
I was listening. You were saying something, and I was trying to interject, and then I couldn't remember what you were saying. So anyway, talking of that, there was meant to be another video this week, but I didn't like how it came out. So I'm going to redo that, and I'm going to get it hopefully ready for next week. It's going to be a new format, a new, hopefully interesting look at things that are going on. So yeah, that's another new thing we have coming up.
Yes, so it's a bit of a kind of a video timeline.
Don't spoil it, flipping heck.
But it's not in the same form. Shut up. It's not in the same format. We're trying to make again. We keep asking you guys to share the message and spread the message and share the streams and that. We need to make something that is eminently shareable, easy to share, very quick, get straight to the point. That's the point. So hopefully you'll really love it. I think Jordan did a really great job on the first one. He's just being super, super picky about his own efforts here.
No, it wasn't good. I didn't like it.
It did become excellent though. If you could just start the way you finished, perfect.
So what you're saying is it was substandard.
No, I'm just saying you didn't embrace your thing. You weren't passionate, but you got there. I would say maybe do it twice. So you get the passion at the end, and then it starts at the beginning, and the passion just carries on. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. I swear to God, I'm not drinking. I don't take drugs.
No, my stepdad's not me.
The fact that you don't know that Jordan actually says this to me or words to that equivalent is quite funny.
Oh, that's so accurate.
Can we go back to picking on Jordan?
No. Wrap up. There we go. That's what we can do.
I don't have a sense of humour. You shouldn't pick on me. I'm going to rage quit. Oh, God. I know I shouldn't have said that. Okay. I'm begging you, Fearless Bear. Please don't. Okay. Okay. Is that everything? Is there anything else you'd like to add about the website? And again, Andrew's worked so incredibly hard on these articles. And they're just guides. We always say, do not take our word for anything. Do your own research. Trust yourself. You will find the thing that is right for you, and you will do what is best for you. All we can do is lead people in the right direction and hopefully give them some good advice to get started. So I'm going to hand it over to the lads to finish up. I will say good night, everyone. Lads, if you want to give some final thoughts.
I'm good.
Well, I'll just say that went through quite a few points on the article, but there's loads that we haven't gone through. So if you can post a link again, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely. And more importantly, if people can share it with friends and family, that would be 10 out of 10. There you go.
Yeah, the website is completely non-controversial. So, if you want to share it around, there is nothing that anyone is going to see that may give you pause. So, yes, please do share it. Please do tell everyone about it. As mentioned earlier, for any latecomers, you do not have to join the website. It's just a free resource. If you just pop on the link, it will take you there. You can look through everything that's available there. this will be constantly updated now. There will be constant material being added to it. And again, if you want to contribute something to the website, please get in touch. We would love to hear from you. Thank you very much. I just want to mention, yes, Will is streaming, Free Gamer Will, this is not English Will, Sunday at 4 p.m. UK time. This will be on DLive. If you want to drop your link in the chat and you have there, thank you, Will. If anyone wants to go and show some support there, please do. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. We will be back next Friday, if not before. And yes, we'll see you soon. Take care all.
Good night.
Bye for now.